It was a golden Friday evening when Daniel clocked out of work earlier than usual, a rare smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. The city felt soft, wrapped in that familiar pre-weekend hush, and for the first time in weeks, he wasn't weighed down by exhaustion or routine. He felt light, hopeful. He missed Mia, truly missed her. Their time together had been reduced to rushed dinners and tired good nights lately, each of them slipping further into their separate orbits. So tonight he decided to close the distance. A quiet dinner at her favorite spot, a small bouquet of fresh wildflowers tucked under his arm, and a hope that maybe they could find each other again, if only for an evening. He remembered her saying she'd be meeting an old friend for coffee that afternoon, at a little place tucked near the edge of the city, charming, candlelit, and discreet. The kind of place couples wandered into on slow evenings. Daniel thought it would be the perfect surprise. A warm gesture, a reminder. As he stepped inside, the familiar scent of roasted garlic and red wine welcomed him. He scanned the dimly lit room, his eyes adjusting to the soft golden light, searching for the familiar curve of her shoulders, the way her hair framed her face. And then he saw her. She was seated in a shadowed corner booth beneath a low-hanging lamp, her back to the wall, leaning forward slightly. But she wasn't alone. Across from her sat a man Daniel had never seen before. They were laughing, too closely. Her hand rested gently on the man's arm, not in passing, not in formality, but in a way that whispered comfort, intimacy, familiarity. Daniel froze. His breath caught. His heart thudded so loudly he thought it might echo off the walls. He stood rooted in place, bouquet still in hand, watching the scene unfold like it was some cruel play written behind his back. Maybe, he tried to reason, maybe it was nothing. Maybe this wasn't what it looked like. But then the man reached across the table, slowly, confidently, and tucked a strand of Mia's hair behind her ear before lifting her hand and kissing it. Soft, deliberate, like this was something they'd done before. Daniel's world didn't collapse in fire. It didn't scream or shatter. It simply went quiet. His hands clenched around the flowers until the stems snapped. He turned on his heel, walked back through the entrance like a ghost, and stepped into the cool night air. He didn't make a scene. Not yet. Rage churned beneath his skin. But grief came first, a sharp, disorienting kind that left him breathless. He sat in his car, the silence around him louder than anything. Questions collided in his mind. How long had this been happening? Was this the first time? Had she ever told the truth at all? Every laugh they'd once shared now felt hollow. Every late night, every dodged kiss, every vague answer began to click into place. After a few minutes, clarity pushed through the heartbreak. He needed proof, not for her, but for himself. So he returned, this time staying out of sight, tucked into the shadows outside the window. From there, he pulled out his phone and quietly captured frame after frame. Mia and the man laughing, hands grazing, heads leaning in close, smiles too real to be innocent. Every shutter click sealed the truth. This wasn't a slip. This was something deeper, intimate, rehearsed. When they stood to leave, Daniel followed from a distance, hidden in the dimness. He watched as they walked across the lot, arms brushing like they belonged to each other. The man reached for the driver's side, and Daniel's stomach turned cold. It was his car, the one he had given Mia on their anniversary, wrapped in a red bow. Her tears of joy still burned into his memory. Now someone else was behind the wheel, and she didn't even hesitate. Daniel didn't go home that night. He drove across the city to a friend's place, heart pounding and mind unraveling. Sleep never came. Instead, he stared at the ceiling while the images burned behind his eyelids. He thought of every red flag he had ignored, every vague excuse, every night she turned away in bed. And suddenly, it all made sense. The lies weren't loud. They had crept in quietly, like smoke under a door. The next morning, the sun was barely up when Daniel returned home. The house was silent. Mia was in the kitchen, dressed in soft colors, humming like it was just another Saturday. She turned to greet him, casual as ever, asking how his night was with a smile that made his chest tighten. He didn't say a word. He walked to the dining table, pulled out his phone, opened the photo gallery, and placed it in front of her. Mia's smile vanished, her face drained of color, her hands trembling as she scrolled through each image. Her mouth opened to speak, but no words came. Just a quiet gasp, her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "It just happened." Daniel's voice was calm, too calm. The kind of stillness that comes after the storm's already passed. "It didn't just happen, Mia. You chose this. You chose him. You chose every lie, every excuse, every time you looked me in the eye and told me nothing was wrong." She tried to reach for his hand, but he stepped back, not in anger, but with finality. "We need time apart," he said, his voice firm and low. "I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust you again." He packed a bag. He didn't rush. Every fold of fabric was a step away from the life he thought they shared. The house they'd built together now felt like a stranger's space. When he closed the door behind him, it felt like closing a chapter too heavy to carry anymore. As he drove away, the city seemed different, clearer, brighter in a way that felt unfamiliar. His heart still ached, but beneath the pain was something else. A strange, sharp clarity. The woman he had built his life with had betrayed it. And though he didn't know what came next, he knew one thing with certainty. He deserved honesty, and he would never settle for anything less again.